somewhere anyway.
I'll just put that focus assistant.
And that's a pretty good shot to leave it on.
Forget about the camera, look at me, just a normal interview. I noticed over and over again the emphasis on talking and communication. What are the big things, especially here in the summer, that you're always preaching about communication, calling for the ball, saying your teammate's name, the stuff that we were hearing over and over again out there today?
Well, I think one thing is communication is key, whether it's offense or defense. And, you know, games are won and lost by one possession. And so, say for instance, I'm throwing the ball to my teammate, he don't see me and I don't call his name, that ball is out of bounds. We lose the game by one possession or 1 point, and that we could have handled that. That should have been handled, and it should be handled from day one. And so what coach wants is he wants total communication, both offensively and defensively. And communication is a two-part deal. One part talk, other part listen. And I think we got to figure out both of those. Now, there's a silent team. This is with coaches throughout college basketball or basketball in general. A silent basketball team is a bad basketball team. We were just talking earlier today, some offensive things, and the motion offense. A lot of people ran back in the day. Some people still run it. And one of the things about guarding motion defensively is you could be really good physically. You could be a great defensive team in terms of defensive stance and all of that. But if you are not communicating, you are not a good defensive team. All it takes is one miscommunication, and you lose a game merely off miscommunication, both offensively and defensively. Plus, you want your guys to interact and talk throughout themselves throughout a game anyway, because as coaches, we are not on the floor. And so when something happens, it's not like Coach Martin is running by his teammate and got a quick something to say to him. Those guys got to talk. They are out there, and they aren't. Coach want them to listen to him when he's talking, but when the game is going on, he's not going to be having their attention all the time. They will have each other's attention. So it's very important that they communicate both offensively, defensively, on and off the court.
How important is habit building during the summer? Because like you say, when the games start, you guys are not in their ear during a game.
Right. Well, I mean, guys got good habits and bad habits, and habit building is of the utmost importance. And the reason I say that is because, like you just asked, if you don't do it now, then what we are doing is allowing or building bad habits. As long as we do it now, we will have it done, habit form throughout the year, throughout the season. And so now we are building the base of whatever we want this program to be on the court. So coach is going to constantly talk about communication. We're going to constantly talk about little things, the way to pass the ball. As you heard, who I call Hollywood, Coach Hollander, you heard him stop guys and say, hey, wait, we're traveling. And those are little things, but right now what we want to do is create a base of really good habits and let that grow throughout a year.
Coach, will you put your water bottle down?
Sure I will.
Sorry.
You wouldn't
Yeah.
think that makes that much noise, but
Oh, my bad.
Microphones pick up everything. Big picture on you. Where are you from and how'd you get here?
I'm originally from Detroit. Well, right outside of Detroit is a small area. Okay, so Detroit starts on 8 Mile Road. All right, I live one side of 8 Mile is the city of Detroit. The other side of 8 Mile is Royal Oak Township. I lived on 8 Mile my whole life. I started out on the Detroit side of 8 Mile. Then I moved 1 block off of 8 Mile on the other side. And so I'm from Royal Oak Township. And I got here through, I've been knowing Conzo for about 15 plus years. And whenever we communicated or interacted, we interacted in terms of talking basketball. We talked a lot of basketball every time we talked. And a lot of times it was defense. And so I think that's where we began our relationship. And through years of communication or interaction, obviously he hired me, so he felt I was good. And I've been blessed. I've been super blessed in terms of working at 5 different Division I programs and been a member of 6 championship teams. Each team that I've been able to be a part of, we won a championship ring. And so I've been super blessed in that way. And I work with some great people, some great guys. I do feel like right now this is the best place I've ever been.
What have you learned about winning and those things that have to happen to win that are not necessarily thought of off the top of the head?
Well, one of the things is the communication. That's a huge deal. It's probably more of what I notice as a loser. So we would say, well, that's a losing thing. So today, Barnett fell to the floor, and not one guy came up to pick him up. That's a losing thing. That's your teammate. He went down. You are in battle. And so as you go out and fight for these wins, if a teammate goes down, then it should be a race to see who's going to get him up first. But because he was left down, that's a losing thing. Now, we talked about it. We said something to the guys. So that's a habit too. That's something we're fixing right now. And so it's easier to notice the losing things rather than things that make you win. Because everybody can point out, wow, he's a great shooter, or wow, he's a great passer. Everybody can point that out. But one of the things they don't point out, as you've seen on the floor, is when you get an outlet, you got to get the ball right away from, in transition, you got to get the ball right away from the defender. You can't put the ball right in front of the defender's face. And so a few guys did that today. We stopped them, we corrected it. And so just over and over again, really small things, creating inches to yards, I think is what we're trying to do right now. Create a base, inch by inch, to get to yard by yard.
You mentioned you got a 15-year relationship with Coach Martin. Where do you guys really see eye to eye? What are the things that over the years you've really both felt strongly about in a similar way?
Well, the biggest thing I think is toughness. He's from a very tough area. I'm from the projects as well, different place. Some things, just being from those humble beginnings, you have to bust through and like create some situations for yourself. And I think we've both been able to do that, but I think where we stand firm at is, because of that, discipline, responsibility, and no excuses. There is no excuse for not being successful. If you're not successful, you had a lot to do with that. And I think between myself and Coach, and of course I'm following his lead, but between us both, toughness, defensive intensity, and just your mentality, because defense is a mentality. Your mentality, man to man, you're not going to beat me because I'm just tougher than you. I'm not willing to give in. And I think those are the things, if you will, pillars that we both stand on.
Coach, you've kind of rocked. Will you go a little bit back that way, a little bit more? There you go.
Trying to keep the tiger head frame.
It's all good.
What's life without branding, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
A little bit more. Sorry.
Too far?
Nope, that's perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
Mizzou fans have cheered for some great Detroit basketball players. Doug Smith, Ricky Paulding, Arthur Johnson. What are kind of the hallmarks of the kind of players that come out of Detroit that you might have had whenever you played?
Well, it's the same thing that we just talked about in terms of toughness and grit, having an edge. Detroit, a city I love, is oftentimes considered the roughest city or the toughest city. And so tough begets tough. The city is tough, so players are tough, and people are tough, and it's some really good people. But when you're living in a city like that, you better be tough, because there's some things that's going to happen on a daily basis that are out of your hands, and you're going to have to be able to handle them and, again, bust through. And so those players come with a certain pedigree. They come with a certain chip on their shoulder that just oozes toughness. Like, when you're from Detroit, you got to walk down the street. Now, as you walk down the street, maybe some people that's not going to try and let you get to the end of that block. And so you got to find out how to get to the end of that block. And And again, that just takes toughness. So I think Detroit is full of tough people.
What have you liked about Mizzou so far? Some of the things that you see in this program that say, yeah, we're just getting started, but we can be successful because of X, Y, and Z that's here at Mizzou.
Well, I really think one, I didn't. Obviously, I played here when I played at the University of Colorado. I coached against University of Missouri when I was at Iowa State, and so I've been here, but I've been here on game day. What I did not know is how awesome the campus is. I did not know how much the campus leads to just comfort. Every student here should be comfortable. When you walk in buildings, even the lighting is awesome. And so, think about the rec center. When you walk into the rec center, it's not like you're walking into a rec center. I've been in many rec centers. When you walk into the rec center here, it's like you walking into the spa. And that's an awesome feeling to walk into your rec center and it's a spa. You can go get your nails done. You can go get your toes done. I mean, it's a very comfortable place. It's a comfortable place for everybody, though, and that's what I like. And the people make the place. I think the people here are awesome, and I'm a little bit of hungry guy, so the food here is awesome.
When did you play at Colorado?
I played at Colorado fresh out of high school in 91.
Okay. And when were you a coach at Iowa State?
Oh, I coached with Fred Hoiberg. He was there 5 years. I was there his last 4 of his 5 years there.
So you have been in the old building and in the new building when things were hopping. You probably would have paid a visit to Hearns when they went 14-0 in '94, and so
Well, Doug was here. Doug Smith was here when I played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then into Melvin and those guys.
Uh-huh.
You know what this place is like when
Oh, without a doubt.
good.
It's rocking. It's rocking. Should I say that again? Rocking.
Tell me about some of the environments that you played and coached in that you are excited about seeing here on the home side of things this year.
Say that again?
Tell me about some of the environments that you have seen, whether it be Hearns, Mizzou Arena, from your previous experience that you're excited about being on the home side of this year as we expect to have 15,000.
Well, let's start it out with Iowa State. I got my master's from Iowa State, and I coached there. That game is very near and dear to me, and so I'm looking forward to the first game being Iowa State. Obviously, just whatever to Kentucky. I mean, whatever teams are supposed to be the better teams is what I'm gonna look forward to. I think this is the crowd, the atmosphere, the environment, Coach Martin. I think that is, to me, what makes this place awesome before we even played a game in it. You know what I mean? And so, as a fan, as an assistant coach, but as a fan, I would be looking and licking my chops and going to get my tickets and get my popcorn ready because it's going to be a very exciting year.
And for you, big picture, I always like to ask coaches, how do you coach? What's your style? What's your philosophy?
Well, I think I would say toughness is my philosophy defensively. I would say, pushing the ball at a very fast pace to score, push to score, then get the ball moving. If you're not going to use it, move it. Because defenses are very good when they are set, but when the ball is moving, it's hard to continue to be a great defense. And if the ball is moving and you're a silent defensive team, we got you. If the ball is moving and you're a talking defensive team, then hey, it's going to be a little bit tougher. But I just like exciting basketball. I really like guys having the ability to like Coach going to allow freedom guys up in spacing to play their game and to take advantage of what their game allows them to take advantage of from an offensive standpoint. And defensively, just being tough, just not taking anything for an answer. If whatever the offensive team does, our defense will be good enough that it's just the wrong thing for the offense to do. Our defense should be that good. And, it's heart and toughness. You should play defense with your heart, not with your hands.
And finally, one thing I've noticed being out to 3 or 4 practices now, all assistant coaches and head coach Martin, the communication is very straightforward. There isn't a lot of yelling and screaming. It's respectful. I mean, tell me about how you communicate with players and kind of, I guess, maybe the philosophy of the whole coaching staff that I see everybody doing about how you communicate, how you teach, coach guys up.
Well, the first thing is when Coach Martin is talking, shut it down. You know, let him talk, because obviously whenever he has something to say, everyone in the gym should be quiet, and they will. And then from my standpoint, the thing I like to do as an assistant coach is, I'm an assistant coach, so I'm not trying to embarrass a player. All right, so if I have something to say, oftentimes I'm gonna do a walk by a player, and nobody else even knows what I just said to him, because I'm not into embarrassing and calling out and all of that. Now, there's times where if you miss a line or something like that, of course you got to call it out. But just on a regular or on a daily basis, if I have a little something to talk to a player about, I'll try and do it on the sly, and then after practice, maybe bring them in for a short film session to, you know, build on top of what I told them in practice. But it's real simple. Communication is simple. Communication is simple, and the way Coach Martin has it is, respect is given, respect is received.
Awesome. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you want to say?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm good.
I always make sure, because I certainly don't have the answer.